What if the Bible is not only a story told in words, but also a structure shaped by order, rhythm, and design? What if beneath its poetry, laws, visions, and narratives, there exists a quiet mathematical harmony that reflects the mind of a creator who delights in precision as much as meaning? From the opening line of Genesis to the closing vision of Revelation, Scripture repeatedly presents God as one who measures, orders, separates, and completes. Tonight, we enter an investigative journey into what can be called divine mathematics, not as hidden codes or secret formulas, but as the sacred geometry of order, proportion, and pattern that reveals God's character and humanity's place within creation. Before we continue, if you value these calm, reflective explorations into Scripture and its deeper design, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Bible Scope. Your support allows this channel to keep uncovering the quiet layers of meaning woven through the biblical narrative. Now, let us begin. The Bible opens not with chaos, but with intention. In the beginning, God creates, and He does so through separation, sequence, and completion. Light is separated from darkness. Waters are divided. Land emerges. Time itself is structured into days. This is not random activity. It is ordered action. Repeatedly, the text says that God saw what He had made, and it was good. The goodness is not only moral, it is structural. Creation functions because it is arranged. Ancient readers may not have spoken in the language of geometry or mathematics as we do today, but they deeply understood order. In the ancient world, chaos was feared. Order was sacred. To describe God as one who orders the cosmos was to describe Him as sovereign, wise, and trustworthy. The biblical creation account presents God as a divine architect, bringing form where there was none, shaping reality through measured acts. Numbers appear early and often, not as puzzles to decode, but as symbols of completion, witness, and rhythm. The number 7, for example, structures the creation week. 6 days of work lead to a 7th day of rest. This pattern establishes a sacred rhythm that will echo throughout Scripture. Sabbaths, festivals, and cycles of rest are built on this structure. 7 becomes associated with completeness and holiness, not because of mystical speculation, but because God chose to reveal Himself through this pattern. This rhythm continues beyond Genesis. The ark built by Noah is described with precise measurements. Its proportions are given, not for curiosity, but for obedience. God provides dimensions, and Noah builds according to them. The result is preservation amid chaos. Order becomes a vessel of salvation. This theme will repeat again and again. God's instructions are often detailed, not because He delights in complexity, but because design matters. When Israel is freed from Egypt and given the tabernacle, sacred geometry becomes even more visible. God instructs Moses with exact measurements for the structure, the altar, the furnishings, and even the priestly garments. Lengths, widths, heights, materials, and patterns are specified. The tabernacle is not merely a tent. It is a microcosm of creation. The outer court, inner holy place, and most holy place reflect increasing degrees of holiness, mirroring the movement from earth to heaven. The lampstand, crafted with branches and cups shaped like almond blossoms, reflects both botanical design and symbolic meaning. Light, life, and divine presence converge. The Ark of the Covenant, with its mercy seat and cherubim, is positioned at the center, emphasizing that God's presence is the focal point of order. Nothing is accidental. Every placement communicates theology through structure. What does this reveal about God? It reveals a God who cares about proportion, boundaries, and intentional design. A God who meets humanity through form as well as word. And what does it reveal about humanity? It reveals that humans are invited to participate in divine order, not to invent it, but to align with it. As Israel enters the land and later builds the temple, sacred design expands in scale. Solomon's temple follows detailed plans. Measurements are repeated. Symmetry is emphasized. The temple faces east, aligning worship with the rising sun, a symbol of light and life. Courts are arranged to guide movement inward, reinforcing the idea that approaching God is a journey from the common to the holy. The temple is not just a building. It is theology expressed in space. It teaches through movement, distance, and orientation. Even those who could not read could learn by walking its courts. Sacred geometry becomes a silent teacher. The Psalms, though poetic, also reveal mathematical awareness. Many are structured with balance and parallelism. Lines mirror each other. Ideas are repeated with variation. This literary symmetry reflects an ordered worldview. God's law is described as perfect, restoring the soul. Perfection here does not mean flawlessness alone. It means completeness, wholeness, harmony. The prophets, too, use measured imagery. Ezekiel's visions are filled with dimensions, wheels within wheels, precise layouts of a future temple. These visions are not blueprints for construction alone. They communicate restoration. Order returns where chaos once ruled. Measurement becomes a sign of hope. God has not abandoned structure. He is rebuilding it. When we move into the New Testament, the theme does not disappear. Jesus speaks in parables that often involve counting, measuring, and proportion. A builder calculates the cost. A shepherd counts sheep. A woman measures yeast into dough. These images ground spiritual truth in numerical awareness. They remind listeners that faith is not detached from practical order. The incarnation itself reflects divine precision. Paul writes that Christ came in the fullness of time. Not early, not late, at the right moment. History unfolds with timing. Even redemption follows order. The Gospels themselves are structured narratives. Events are arranged with purpose. Genealogies trace lineage through carefully preserved sequences. These lists may seem tedious to modern readers, but they matter deeply in ancient understanding. They established continuity, legitimacy, and fulfillment. God works through generations. Not randomness. Point, one of the most striking examples of divine mathematics appears in Jesus' feeding of the crowds. The people are seated in groups. Food is distributed. Baskets of leftovers are counted. The numbers are not emphasized to create mystery, but to reveal abundance and sufficiency. Nothing is wasted. Provision exceeds need. Order governs miracle. As the early church grows, structure continues to matter. Communities appoint leaders. Resources are distributed fairly. Time is set aside for teaching and prayer. Paul speaks of the church as a body, with parts arranged according to purpose. This metaphor reflects design. Unity does not mean sameness. It means coordinated diversity. The book of Revelation brings sacred geometry to its most vivid expression. John's visions are filled with numbers, measurements, and patterns. Seals, trumpets, bowls, and elders appear in structured sequences. The heavenly city is described with astonishing precision. Its walls, gates, foundations, and streets are measured. The city is a perfect cube, echoing the shape of the most holy place in the temple. This is not accidental. The final vision of Scripture presents restoration as perfect order. God dwells fully with humanity. There is no temple because God's presence fills everything. The geometry communicates completeness. What was once limited to a room is now expanded to a city. Eden is not merely restored. It is transformed. It is important here to speak carefully. Sacred geometry in Scripture is not an invitation to speculative numerology or secret decoding. The Bible does not encourage hidden knowledge reserved for the few. Instead, it uses number and structure openly as part of its language. These patterns are not puzzles to solve, but signals to notice. They point to a God who is consistent, faithful, and intentional. Throughout Scripture, order is never opposed to relationship. Structure is never cold. God's design serves life. Sabbath exists for rest. Law exists for flourishing. Measurement exists for preservation. When humanity breaks alignment with this order, the result is disorder, injustice, and suffering. When humanity returns to God's design, harmony follows. This reveals something profound about human nature. Humans are not only storytellers. We are pattern seekers. We long for meaning that fits together. We suffer when life feels fragmented. Scripture meets this longing by presenting a God whose world is intelligible, even when it is mysterious. There is room for wonder without chaos that in the modern world. Mathematics and science often feel detached from spirituality. Yet the biblical vision refuses this separation. Creation's order reflects the Creator's character. The heavens declare glory not only through beauty, but through precision. Seasons follow cycles. Days follow nights. Life emerges within boundaries. For believers, this invites humility. We do not create the order. We discover it. For skeptics, it invites curiosity. Why does order exist at all? Scripture offers an answer grounded not in chance, but in purpose. As we reflect on divine mathematics, we are reminded that faith is not opposed to reason. It transcends it without denying it. God is portrayed as both relational and rational, both loving and precise. His design invites trust. What does this reveal about God? It reveals a God of harmony, faithfulness, and intention. A God who finishes what he begins. A God whose promises unfold according to plan. What does it reveal about humanity? It reveals that we are created to live within divine order, to reflect it in how we act, build, and relate. When we align with it, we flourish. When we resist it, we fragment. As we come to the close of this exploration, take a moment to consider how often order goes unnoticed, how often structure is mistaken for rigidity and design for limitation. Scripture presents a different picture. Order is the stage on which freedom and life unfold. If this journey has deepened your appreciation for the Bible's design and the God behind it, remember to like this video and subscribe to BibleScope. Your support helps this channel continue uncovering the quiet architecture beneath Scripture's surface. As you go, carry this thought with you. The same God who measures the foundations of the earth also knows the shape of the human heart, and his design, both seen and unseen, is always aimed toward life.